Hey, welcome. So today we're going to do something a little different. We're taking some of the world's most ancient wisdom and giving it a serious tech upgrade. We're going to explore the core principles of Buddhist philosophy, but not as some dusty old scripture. Instead, we're going to frame it as a user's guide to the most complex and, honestly, the most important piece of tech you'll ever own, your own mind. So let's dive in. All right, let's kick things off with a simple idea, but it's a really powerful one. What if you thought about your mind as an operating system? You know, a complex piece of software that's constantly processing data, running programs, making decisions. And yeah, every once in a while, it gets a few bugs. This one little shift in perspective, it's the key to everything we're about to unpack. So let's build this metaphor out a little bit. Your body, that's the hardware. It's the physical machine, the CPU, the RAM, the whole setup. Your mind, well, that's the software. It's the code made of thoughts, habits, and beliefs that dictates pretty much everything you do. But like any complex software, there's a bug, a really persistent one. In this model, we'll call that bug samsara. It's like being stuck in a frustrating infinite loop of dissatisfaction. And the goal? Nirvana. And that doesn't mean just shutting down the system. It means finally breaking that loop for good so it can't reboot. Okay, so if our mind really is an OS, then the first thing we got to ask is, how do we protect it, from viruses, malware, all that junk? And that brings us to our very first practical step, installing a really solid mental firewall. So in Buddhist philosophy, this firewall has a name. It's called Sila, which basically just means ethical conduct. Think of it as the essential security layer for your mind. Its whole job is to filter harmful inputs. We're talking things like greed, anger, jealousy, and to stop them before they can get in and mess with your core programming. And this isn't about being good for the sake of it. It's about creating a stable system that doesn't blue screen every time something goes wrong. Now, what's so cool about this is just how active this firewall is. It's not passive. It's not just sitting there. It's working for you 24/7. So when a harmful input shows up, like you get that urge to say something kind of nasty, the system instantly checks it against a rule, like right speech. If it violates that rule, bam, the action is blocked before it can even execute and cause damage to you or someone else. It's an automatic defense system for your own well-being. And here's how that breaks down into specific protocols. The 5 precepts, think of those as your core firewall rules, filtering what even gets to your mental CPU. Then you've got mindfulness, which acts like your antivirus software, always running in the background, scanning for malware like ignorance or ill will. And finally, managing what you see and hear. That's like closing unnecessary ports on your network to stop unwanted data from sneaking in. All right, our system is secure. Check. Now it's time for a performance upgrade. Let's move on to part 2 and see how we can optimize that mental CPU. This optimization tool is called Samadhi, or concentration. And honestly, the best way to think of it is as your mind's task manager. You know when your computer's running super slow and you open up the tasks manager to see what's eating up all the memory? That's exactly what Samadhi is for your mind. It's the practice of gathering all those scattered mental resources, focusing them, and just hitting end task on all the distractions. And let me tell you, the impact is huge. We all know these processes, right? They're the little bits of code just chugging away in the background, constantly eating up our mental processing power. You've got that pesky pastregret.exe that's always running, or that futureworry.exe that pops up when you're trying to sleep. And don't forget that sneaky idle daydreaming.dll. They seem harmless, but man, together they can slow the whole system to a crawl. I mean, look at this. The difference is just night and day. Before you practice this kind of concentration, your CPU is maxed out at 99%. The system is sluggish, it overheats, it's prone to crashing with emotional outbursts. But once those background tasks are closed, your CPU usage just plummets. The system runs smoothly, efficiently, and with this cool, quiet focus. Everything just flows. So what are the biggest culprits, the top CPU hogs? Well, they're known as the 5 hindrances. And wow, just look at this chart. Craving and aversion alone are eating up over half of our mental bandwidth. These are the high-priority background tasks that Samadhi, that concentration, finally helps us to shut down. Okay, so our system is locked down and it's running super fast. Now we get to the really cool part, the most advanced step. Now we're going to learn how to read our own source code. This is Panna, or wisdom. But we're not talking about just book smarts here. No. In our analogy, this is like getting root access to your own operating system. It's the ability to see the underlying code of your own thoughts and feelings, to understand exactly how your experience of reality is being constructed moment by moment. This part is so crucial to understand. It shows us how this system's memory actually works. A thought, which is called sankhara, is just like data in your computer's RAM. It's volatile. It appears for a moment and then poof, it's gone. The cause of our suffering, what's called clinging, is basically a memory leak. It's our desperate attempt to save that temporary data permanently, which, as any programmer will tell you, just bogs down the whole system. The profound wisdom of impermanence, or anicca, is realizing that all this data is transient by its very nature. You can't save it. So how do we actually do this? How do we read the code? Well, there's a tool for that, of course. It's called insight meditation, or vipassana. And you can think of it as the ultimate debugging tool for your brain. It lets you open the developer console on your own mind so you can examine the code line by line and find the root cause of all your system errors. And it's a really clear process. Step 1, you identify a bug, that little flash of anger or frustration. Step 2, you open the console. That's just engaging your mindfulness to observe the whole process without judging it. Step 3, you trace the code. You follow that feeling all the way back to its trigger, to its root cause. And finally, the best part, step 4, you patch the code. You use wisdom to actually rewrite the fundamental if-then logic that caused the bug in the first place. Okay, so we've got our firewall, our souped-up CPU, and this awesome debugging tool. The last piece of the puzzle is putting it all together in our day-to-day life. Let's look at how to run your daily algorithm. This is where it all gets super practical. In the morning, when you boot up, you activate that firewall by setting your intentions for the day. During the day, think of it as running in safe mode, using mindfulness to handle all those emotional pop-ups, like anger or anxiety, without letting them take over the system. Evening comes, time to defrag. Run your task manager, your concentration practice, for maybe 20 minutes to cool down the CPU. And then right before you log off for the night, you do a quick log review. You let go of the day's events, recognizing them for what they are, just temporary cache data, not permanent files. See, when you look at it this way, you realize this isn't some ancient, dusty philosophy. It's a fully functional operating system for your mind. It's a complete toolkit that gives you security, incredible performance, and a deep, deep understanding of how you work. Which leaves us with one last very real question. Your system is on. It's running right now. So what are you going to debug first?